everybody. Life sucks. Thanks. Good night. I'm just kidding. I like to share a story with everybody. When I was 9, my parents opened a Chinese restaurant. Sounds pretty awesome, right? Free egg rolls, family time, good life. But the restaurant became our life, and not a fun one. I was a child employee with no time off. My boss was my dad, and he was under a lot of stress, and it showed, especially towards my mom and I. I didn't always feel like a kid in that moment. If you're a parent, pro tip, don't let your 9-year-old work in a restaurant. It's so boring. I would have to make gains out of the monotony. How fast could I take your order? How many menus could I fold in an hour? But still, most days, I just stare out the window, trying to imagine what life would be like if I wasn't stuck there. I used to take this old flip phone with me whenever I went out to play with my friends. Not so I could call them or anything, but so that my parents could call me and I could come running back to work whenever they needed me. That was life and freedom at 9 years old. Timed, conditional, and interruptible. And it sucks. But having a strong purpose in my life has made it suck less. Even back then, I knew life couldn't be like this forever, that there had to be more to life than just working in a Chinese restaurant. I came across a study published in 2014 by Patrick Hill, a professor of psychology at Carleton University, and he followed over 6,000 adults and found that those with a higher sense of purpose lived longer, even if they weren't rich or were in perfect health. So, I knew that when my parents finally got divorced 6 years later and sold the restaurant, I never wanted to go back to a situation like that, that I wanted to live my own long and happy and healthy life. So I found my own purpose. I knew I had to try and continue to try to be a person that 9-year-old me would have been proud of. I thought that life after working in a restaurant would be nice and easy. I was sorely mistaken. Being an adult sucks. Being a college student, juggling school, life, work, volunteer, research, pretty stressful. Life still sucks sometimes. But I've just learned that juggling all these responsibilities, being a college student, it's all going to be worth it one day. You know, I came across a study done by the American Psychological Association. They followed a bunch of just young adults and found that over half of all young adults reported feeling stressed relating to work, to money, and to their future. And it makes sense. I mean, I'm constantly told how hard I have to work, how much money I have to make, or I had to travel, or my favorite one, how much I had to date. And it's not that I don't appreciate the advice, but when the expectations pile on, it's about as useful as a screen door on a submarine. But no matter how difficult things get to be, there's always one person that I think of. Someone who's been through it all. Loss, failure, heartbreak. Someone who's not perfect, but keeps showing up anyways. Y'all probably know who he is. You've probably seen his face on TV, heard quotes from him in graduation speeches. He's not famous. He's not rich. He's not like a Nobel Prize winner or anything like that. But he is, in my opinion, still one of the greatest role models of all time. His name is Peter Parker. Yeah, it's Spider-Man. Not some billionaire genius in a metal suit. Not the God of Thunder. Just some overworked, broke college kid who's got a little too much on his plate. And I feel like in more ways than one, a lot of us are like Peter. I don't know about you, but I'm not a god. I'm not a genius or a billionaire. Great. I'm just some guy with bills, grief, and guilt, and I'm just trying to do right by my 9-year-old self. I try to incorporate Spidey's friendly neighborhood mission by giving back to my own community. I volunteer as a court-appointed special advocate, and I work with a child whose parents suffer from some substance abuse. Our initial visit was tough. He couldn't make eye contact with me and barely spoke, but I do my best by showing up consistently. He liked to spend time by playing some games outside, basketball, soccer, going to the park. But he knows better than a lot of kids his age that life sucks. Well, sometimes. As a reminder to him that there's more to life out there than his current situation, that there are things to look forward to. Once in a while, we'll do something fun. We'll grab some ice cream, go to a museum, even catch a movie. In some strange way, every time I do that for him, it feels like I do it for 9-year-old me too. And even though it's my job to be there for him, he's brought so much happiness to my life. Interestingly, volunteering and research have been found to be correlated. The Journal of Happiness conducted a study and found that individuals who volunteer consistently reported higher life satisfaction and better self-rated health than those who don't. That literally means that volunteering doesn't just help other people, it genuinely boosts our own happiness too. I've only been on his case for about 6 months, but I've seen how much he's grown, because now he's trash talking whenever we play basketball and just absolutely schools me at soccer. But other than Spidey, I've had a lot of great examples in my life. The best being my mom. This woman is so purpose-driven and shows me day after day that having a stable, far-reaching goal will also just naturally give you happiness. You know, years before the restaurant, my mom brought our family over to the US to try and choose a better life. She couldn't speak any English, but that didn't stop her from going to school and working full time. Gosh, I just remember times where she'd come home after a long day of work and work on her online classes. She was finishing her master's in education. I just thought she was up playing video games. Now my mom works as a teacher. She loves teaching. Taught in China for a few years. Though becoming a teacher here didn't exactly mean we just had money rolling in. Times were tough. We lived in low-income apartments for a while. Things like ice cream and movie nights, those were like luxury goods. But still, she made room for me to have a childhood. School, music, swim lessons. She did it all with the kind of strength that makes you realize superheroes don't wear spandex. They wear clearance rack jeans and they love Diet Coke. You know, a while ago, I asked my mom, what was the hardest thing about coming to the US? You know what she said? She didn't say it was learning a new language or working or go to school full time or living on the borderline of poverty. She said it was me. Apparently, I was so problematic that for a time in college, she had to ship me back to China to live with my grandparents so that she can focus on school. Growing up, I attended the same elementary school she taught at, probably so she could keep tabs on me. You know, whenever I caused any trouble, my teachers could walk straight down the hall and talk to her. They got to know her pretty well. But despite that, she still raised me as best as she could. Did you know that having stable, supportive adults in our lives as children, whether they're mentors, teachers, or parents, can dramatically improve our mental health and well-being as adults? JAMA Pediatrics did a study and found that these positive relationships in our lives help us better cope with stress, build resilience, and just lead healthier and happier lives. You can be that person for yourself. Or, if you're lucky enough, for someone else. Well, So what does this all mean? You know, is the meaning to leading a healthier and happier life really that simple that the answer just lies within our 9-year-old selves? Well, the short answer is yeah. We all carry our 9-year-old selves with us, and we have the power and the responsibility to be who they need. The long answer is this. Life will still throw curveballs. And there will be days where you swing and miss, and that's okay. Because like Peter, we aren't perfect. We mess up, we stumble. But the real strength isn't getting back up. Sometimes with a joke or a smile, or just sheer stubbornness. That's the resilience and lightheartedness that I try to carry with me. And as my mom has taught me, it's not easy. The difficult reality to accept is that life sucks. Well, sometimes. Being a person that your 9-year-old self would be proud of is a lifelong process. There are no shortcuts. But if you show up, be kind, be patient, let yourself rest, let yourself play, eat the ice cream, watch the movie, just be there for your inner child. And in doing so, you'll create a life that's full of meaning and joy. Because every time I sit down to fold papers or help a kid do something hard, I do it for them. And I also do it for me. So I ask you, what did your 9-year-old self do? And what would it really mean if you became that person today? Thank you.